Greetings, I'm Reverend John O'Toole, back for another crazy session of tarot reading and seeing what the fairies are speaking for us. And I believe we are on episode maybe 27? I think it's 27. And frankly, I don't remember what we talked about last time. It's been kind of a whirlwind week. Personally, it's been a whirlwind week. And out there in the ethers, in the world, it has been even more of a whirlwind. There hasn't been something that has been going on somewhere that has created an immense amount of thought. So, we are going to do another show. I apologize for the fact that we have the furnace running in the background. However, it snowed today. Today is Friday, and doesn't look bad out there now, but we got about 6 inches this morning. And I think we're the only ones, because when we went out in the world, there was no snow anywhere. It's a very strange thing when the weather report actually specifies out your altitude and says you're getting snow and nobody else is. You just can't make that kind of stuff up. So here we are. We're going to do another session, and the last time we did 6 cards and we were rushed, but I think we're going to still make an attempt. So I am going to pull 6 cards out of the deck. We're going to read the energy with the cards, and we're going to see just where we are right now. So I have been kind of turning and tossing this deck around. By the way, for those of you, have you picked out your fairy yet? No, it's not me. Could just be an energy. It could be, maybe you close your eyes once in a while at night and you see this orange glow. I was in a cave in Wales. It was a temple. And I closed my eyes and there was this massive orange glow. And I was in this cave with maybe 6 other people, and they didn't see it. It might have been one of my fairies hanging out in the cave with us. Or temple. I guess it was a temple or a mound. It was man-made, so it wasn't a cave, I guess. So, you could picture, this is a blank space for you to picture your fairy yourself. So let's see, we're going to pull the one on the top, put it in the center. We're going to dig through the pile, pull one and put one over here. We're going to dig through the pile some more, put one over here. We are going to dig through the pile, put one over here, and another one is going to go over here. We are at 5 cards, and we want one more. So somewhere in this deck, I'm going to find a card for you. Somewhere over the rainbow. How about this one? There we go. Six cards. Where should we start this time? I'm going to start over here. You know, the one thing we could do is we could, if there's any magic left on this board, if I turn all the cards over right away, we kind of lose some of that magic because those cards could actually change. I don't know. I don't know. The only way I would know is I turn them over, memorize them, turn them back over, and then turn them over again. And somehow or other, my memory won't be that good. Our first card, Penelope the Dreamweaver. Well, gee, I do remember this card from the last time because I recall that we pulled this card. And I actually think it was reversed then. Somebody would have to check me. And reminding that I'm using the Fairy Oracle. This is not a plug. This is not an advertisement or endorsement. This is the book I'm using, is the Fairy Oracle. But you should pick out cards that you are most happy with. Penelope the Dreamweaver, number 28. This is this one here. It's a very pretty card. But this card was in reverse. Do I want to just put it up here on reverse? Let's try that. Just for the fun of it. You might see something in that card that that some people don't see. Because that's just the fun of it all. So number 28, Penelope the Dreamweaver. Now if this card was vertical, it would be inspiration, magical dreams, and visions. But this card is in reverse, and the creative expressive is blocked. You may be working too hard. Now we've had a whirlwind of a week. There's been something going on every day that has certainly drawn our attention from the imaginary world to reality. It's been like a rubber band. As soon as you seem like you get into your center and your energy, something would show up on the news and it would just snap you right back. And that's probably why this card is in reverse. I've actually had difficulty doing this reading. I like to do the readings on Tuesday. It's Friday now. And that could be why I've had hesitant to find the right balance of energy to do a reading. Because if my mind is scrambled eggs, I'm not doing a reading that day. So let's see where we are next. We're going to go, I'm going to put this card down, and it's going to be in the correct orientation. So we have another card that is in reverse. The Feline. Now some of you might have a cat that looks like this. Number 65, in case you're following at home. The feline. But this card was in reverse, like so. And there might be something in that card that face almost looks like you could actually get an image out of it in reverse. It's not the same as the getting it right, delayed, completions, tidying up loose ends. But this card was in reverse. The question great ideas from others. Well, there you go, huh? Now there's a tie-in to the card before that about energy, about your creativity, because if you're listening to other people tell you what to do, you're going to be befuddled. 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 Is that my own word or a real word? I have always heard befuddled, but I don't think it's going to be spelled right if I try to write it out. Get one of those weird lines under it on Word. It's very difficult to be creative if people are yammering in your ear and telling you what to do. The Singer of Transformation. I guess we're in a befuddled mood because this card is in reverse also. Very pretty card. We've never drawn this card, at least in the new series. We've probably drawn it at some point, but number 11, the Singer of Transformation. Now this card was in reverse, which has a similar energy in the other direction, just different, like a butterfly. Well, the butterfly I guess would be the other way. Maybe like a moth. It almost looks like you got the chakra system down the center. You see that in the middle there? It's very interesting. Has some interesting possibilities. I'll let you take a look at that card there. Number 11. Singer of Transfiguration. No, not transformation. Transfiguration. So if this card was vertical, transformation, transcendation, and metamorphosis. Well, there you go. It's like a butterfly or a moth. But the reverse is trust is what enables you to be open. So this exchange going on between the people that are yammering in your ear, but you don't really trust them because it's yammering in your ear. They're kind of giving you all kinds of crazy thoughts, and you kind of know that they're not really good thoughts. So that is a very interesting card indeed. And these cards are all kind of flowing. We could actually end up with a show with actually not very much progress in it at all. So let's see, let's try this one on the end. Very strange indeed. Number 59. The Bodacious Bullock. That's Bodacious Bullock. Very interesting looking card. But this card was in reverse, like so. Which is the Bodacious Bullock. If this card was vertical, it would be meddling, tampering, sabotage, and helpful fixing. But this card was in reverse too. So far all the cards have been in reverse. This is why I don't like to pull the cards ahead of time or flip the cards over ahead of time, because we want to take one up one at a time. Reward that person in your life that does good when they usually get it right. Well, how odd is that? Here we're talking about people that are yammering in your ear, and this card comes up and says if someone's yammering the truth, then you should make sure you tell them that that is the truth. And you want to thank them for giving you good information versus bad. And it's kind of curious because the vertical card is meddling, tampering, and sabotage, and helpful fixing, which should be like yammering in your ear but giving you totally useless information. So not always is the reverse necessarily a negative concoction of the information. It just all depends on how the information kind of falls into the place. Isn't it interesting? All these cards are all really about the same kind of thing. So that would be this one, also in reverse. And let's see which one. Then we'll go to this card over here. So The Fairies of the Future. A very pretty card, if I'm allowed to say so. How did I pick that? Now this card was vertical. Aren't we finally got a vertical card? Do I sneak peek to see what the last card is? Fairies of the Future, number 35. Yep. And it was a vertical card, see? Very nice. Well, it's hard to see. I'll put it down here. Now, if this card was in reverse, are you certain you are going in the direction you are going? Pause and reconsider. It reminds me of a saying. There's a movie that I was watching, and it has Jeff Daniels in it. You'd have to look for it, and can't really remember exactly the name. But his father would always say, if you don't know where you're going, go back to the beginning. And it comes to mind here. It's really a cool saying when you think about it. If you get lost or you get befuddled, go back to the beginning and go through it again. So, be here now. Be in your space. Be centered in your space. Be focused so that you can figure out where you're going forward. If the yammering in your ear is distracting you, you can be going in all kinds of directions and miss a turn. I was coming back from, Northampton. You know, people that are on YouTube aren't going to know where Northampton is. But I was taking a route home, and the last time I was taking that same, when we travel around here in the hill towns, we have a lot of back roads to go around things like mountains and hills. And the last time I came up to this intersection, and it was like, I think I'm supposed to go that way, but that way is north, and this way is southeast. So this is the way I really should go. So I went that way, and I drove for like 45 minutes, maybe almost an hour, and I ended up back into the same intersection. on the same street. It was like I went around this big loop and came back to the same spot I was at. So yesterday when I came to that intersection, going, yeah, I know, my GPS, I haven't had it on yesterday. I didn't have it on before. I was just doing it from memory. But it said to take a right. I'm going, the last time I took a right, although it was a very pretty ride, I ended up back in the same spot. So I took the little right, took the little left, and took the little right, went down that road. Even though the GPS kept flipping and saying, oh, turn around and do all these other things, it ended up on the highway that I was supposed to be going on, because in order for me to get over to where I am now, or at home, there is a river and a railroad that you have to get over to here, and it only goes over in one spot for that whole 20 miles stretch. There's only one crossover, and if you don't get on the right road to get to it, you end up making a huge circle. There's that infinite sign, huge circle. And it's really easy to get confused and flipped around over here, because you have to go around large farms, and you have to go around mountains. They're not really mountains, but they're really, really big hills. Now we have one more card. Where are we at? The fairies. Did I actually answer your question on that card? Pardon me. Fairies of the Future. It's very pretty indeed. Our last card, I think, is another reverse card. Half the Hoofer. And I don't think we've pulled Half the Hoofer for quite some time. So this is Half the Hoofer. An interesting looking card, but it was in reverse, like so. Half the Hoofer. Okay, Half the Hoofer, and I haven't. Two F's. How do you pronounce a word with two F's? Faff the Footer. But both words, faff and footer, have an extra F. Get somebody to help pull you back to earth. This is urgent that you don't float away. Learn to fly properly. Like in the first Harry Potter movie when they had to learn how to fly on their broomsticks. And some did it really well, and some didn't do it really well. In fact, if you look at a lot of those witch training series, that always seems to be a thing on how to learn to fly a broomstick. You'd think that we'd all know how to fly broomsticks by now with all those training classes. I don't think there's a broom that can hold me. But then again, you never know. You never know. In a past life, I think I was a giant that could fly. Matter of fact, I can almost guarantee it because I visited to Gozo, which was a little island of Malta, in which they honored the giants that could fly. And I think I saw a sculpture of me. Just sharing. Don't tell everybody about it. Keep this to yourself. Faff the Footer. Get somebody to help pull you down to earth. This is urgent that you don't float away. Sometimes if you're not properly grounded and centered during your meditations, you might have a tendency to fly off, to just totally disregard what your focus is in your meditation. And it's very easy to do so. So you have to be careful. It's a good idea to have some spirit guides with you when you do your meditations or prayer, for example. You could have, if you're praying in a church, you could have some of the saints there as guides to you so that you can stay, in the right zone in your imagination as you're praying. If you're doing a meditation in general, you should have some spirit guides with you to keep you safe. Some of us call it your higher self. Your higher self is aware of all future, past, and present lives, and they are mainly there to keep you safe. And if you ask yourself what your higher self's name is, the first name that comes to mind is going to be the name of that person, and that energy, not really a person, it's an energy called your higher self. And it's generally the same gender as you, but it may not be, but generally it's the same gender as you. So it is kind of an interesting thing that, as we could see this flow going through here, that our energy of trying to stay focused, as like I said, this has been a very whirlwindy week, and we wish to have a certain amount of focus as we work through the week. There's always going to be things going on in the world. There's always going to be chaos. Someplace, somewhere, even locally, there's going to be chaos. That's the human expression. We're humans and we have feelings. Some of us use our feelings certain ways, and some of us use our feelings in other ways. And we have to be able to stay focused, grounded, and centered so that we're not floating away in our emotions. Because it's really easy to do that. It's really easy to get too emotionally sensitive. There's a video floating around that maybe everybody has seen by now of a lady in an elevator, and she was freaking out because somebody was getting on and they didn't have their mask on perfect, and she was just freaking out. But she's in an elevator that hundreds of people have been riding in, but she's concerned about this one person. And you know, if you're afraid about contact, you probably should be walking up the stairs. So we used to ride elevators in the city, and you'd have 20 people, 30 people stuffed into an elevator. It's just, you know, people would be making body noises and, you know, so forth, and, you know, everybody's aware. Everybody's in that tight little pocket in a metal cage and a metal tube, and you have to stay focused. If you keep yourself focused and centered, then you can ride the wave, the surfboard, nice and easy as you're traveling along. So until next time, the fairy will speak for you and you and you. And keep yourself centered and focused and calm and collected. And until next time, hug a fairy. The fairy is speaking for you. Ta-ta!